In that middle of the editorial that Bloomberg News had saying that Obama looks presidential and McCain looks panicked, as now all the pundits are saying, in response to this crisis. Really interesting fact. And putting aside the politics for a second, this is why I want Obama to win. 3 former heads of the SEC came out and supported Barack Obama rather than John McCain. And one of them was a Democrat, but 2 of them were Republicans. And one of the Republicans explained why. Former head of the SEC, Bill Donaldson. And he said, look, and he was tapped to be the head of the SEC by Bush, of all people. Okay? He said, in the middle of this mess, last year, Barack Obama called him out of nowhere. And he said, listen, I want to talk to you about regulations. What do you think makes sense? What do you think doesn't make sense? How do we get out of this financial mess? Think about that for a second. Okay, 2 things I get out of that. 1, that means Barack Obama knew what kind of a mess we were in far long ago when John McCain didn't even know what the hell we're talking about. He's talking about how the fundamentals of our economy are so strong. Obama's calling former heads of the SEC, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, and saying, hey, how do we get out of this mess? He sees it coming from a mile away. And second of all, he cares, man. He's interested. It's not like he's dismissive. He actually calls a Republican head of the SEC, not the current one, a former one, finds him, calls him, and says, hey, what do you think is the right way to get out of this mess? Man, that is great. I mean, it's a small thing, but it's a big thing. It's one of those little things that gives you an insight into how he would actually be president and how he would lead. The guy actually cares to do his homework. And what a difference that is from George Bush, or at this point, John McCain. And when they asked Bill Donaldson about it, he said, quote, Obama has been talking about the need for better financial regulation well before this crisis hit and has done some real thinking about it. McCain comes across as someone who suddenly realized changes have to be made. That's a Republican saying that. And he said, well, under those circumstances, of course I'm not going to be for McCain, who hasn't put any thought behind this. Give me a call. He's like, of course he hasn't given me a call. I'm not sure he knows who I am. Whereas Senator Obama called me a year ago about this. Man, Obama, putting the politics aside, and sometimes I get frustrated with him on the politics that he doesn't play it right, but on policy, this is the guy we need as president, man. He's going to think about it. He's going to put his best effort into it. He's a really smart guy. He's going to ask both Democrats and Republicans across the board and come up with the best policy. We gotta elect him. It's ridiculous how much better he is than John McCain. And he didn't do this for the politics. Nobody even knew about it. He did this because he actually wants to know. He wants to know what the truth is and learn so he can come up with the best policies. It's got to be him. It's got to be him.